All right, we're live now. Let me see if I can get a URL.
Yeah, share that with me too. I'll share as well.
Will do. Tagged you in it. So today I'm live streaming for the second day in a row, which is incredible. I'm going to try and keep this streak up. Still looking at ComTrade data, and then also Cameron is joining me, coworker at Earthrise, and we've been looking at this data together, and Cameron knows it a lot better than I do. So he's going to sort of guide me through sort of how all this data is arranged through this API. And I guess that's a good jumping off point of Cameron. Can you introduce yourself and talk about the ComTrade API and what you've been looking at?
Yeah, totally. Thanks, DJ. So first time live streamer, long time fan. Glad to be here on the program. Yeah, I'll try to give a bit of a background on what we're doing here and why we're interested, where we're going. Okay, so generally, EJ and I are looking into the topic of food security. So there's a lot of different elements that go into that, but a big part of this is where's food coming from? Where does the region get their commodities or food commodities, and who sends what where? Basically, fundamental question. For instance, if a certain country is facing a famine, we need to know not only like where they get their types of grains and their food commodities, but also like who sends them, because they might be having disruptions due to different reasons. So that's the premise of what we're doing with exploring food commodity data. But particularly, we're going to be looking at a database called ComTrade. So I'm going to, EJ, if I share my screen, will it?
Yeah, it should just show up.
Oh, yeah. All right. Go up here. Bam. Okay. So ComTrade, it's a database aggregated by the UN. This is what EJ was playing with yesterday too. But yeah, and it's accessible to anyone. You can go on here. We'll be exploring it through the API, but there's this little visualization tool that allows you to query the API and kind of deconstruct the URL calls. So I use this to get more familiar with the data. There's a lot here, but basically what I want to share first is the vision for what we're going for. So I sketched up a bit of a prototype for what we might want our end result to look like here. So exploring this data, how do we want it all to come together and like present to a user to interact with? And this is the vision for the app. We're going to focus on the bottom section of this first, or today. And this bottom section is basically looking at import data or imports to a country, so food imports to a country in a particular year, and food exports from a country in a particular year. So those will be visualized ideally through a tree map. So that's kind of what this sketch is here. And then a bar chart year over year. So you'll have like one tree map chart showing you basically broken out by commodity. So you'll say like, this is where this country gets their cereals. And you'll have like all the countries that send cereals to this country in those different groups. And then the bar chart will say like how much, we'll give you like a visual representation of how much this country imported or exported year over year. So you can say like, oh, in 2019, Ukraine exported way more than they did in 2020. And that's like an interesting data point if you can track to see if a country, to see how where a country gets their commodities during disaster events or other notable events like that. So today we're going to try to build this. So the first real thing here, as far as like visuals go, is we want to build this tree map. And to build this tree map, EJ, I don't know if I should hand it over to you now, but we're going to have to do a couple things. So try to find you need to find your notebook where you're working out of, EJ.
Yeah, it should be on your homepage now on Observable if you, because now we're part of our cool team.
Oh yeah, all right. Let me pull that up.
Let's see. can have it on my screen as well. Here, I'll just drop it in the chat.
Oh, here we go. I don't know how I lost it. All right,
Nice.
there we are.
Sweet.
So here's our basic to do. We got to make some API calls. I've kind of already done that, so we'll have some of that already done.
That's why I think it's going to be like copying API calls from the notebook that you already have, probably.
Yeah, so exactly. So I'll have the API calls ready to go. So I'll kind of explain those. But then a big part of our day today is going to be changing the data that we're getting back from Comtrade into a hierarchy that makes sense for a D3 tree map. And that's where EJ is really going to wow us with this.
I'm gonna.
And then the next part of that is just actually making the tree map. But we're not making any old tree map. We're trying to make a really nicely reactive tree map that you can like zoom in and out of and explore different parts of it.
Exactly.
And so that's next level. So we really need a D3 master like EJ shows us.
So I want to, and most of that is just cargo culting things that have already been done and work well. So I was looking at the zoomable tree map examples on Observable. And of course, there's like a good example of basically the thing that we want to do. Which
Exactly. And EJ, just so you know, your mic is doing that like noisy thing again.
Oh, no.
Chattering.
Yeah, the audio, I need to double check what is up with that. Because it should be going through the mic under. I hate so many.
While you do that, I'm just going to walk through some of the API calls. Is that okay?
Yeah, please. Yeah, go through that notebook that you already have.
Cool. All right. I'll add a little section here. And just to lay out like my workflow, if anybody is watching this and is like, how does Cameron start working through projects like this? I'm more fluent in Python. So I usually start in Python and like use like Jupyter notebooks, and recently been using Streamlit quite a bit. And what I'll do is I'll try to get like a working app with these frameworks that I know well, and then I'll start converting into some of the frameworks I'm less familiar with. So anything JavaScript is a little bit more, a little bit trickier for me. D3 is something that really scares me whenever I touch it. I don't as much. But anyway, just for reference on that, kind of what I do. Okay, what I'm going to do here, though, is I have some cool API calls I made for some really jumbled tree maps. We'll touch on those later. But what I'll pull in is some API interactions that I already built into my previous observable notebook. Okay, here's my previous observable notebook. I'm just going to copy and paste these cells.
Love it.
Here, yeah, still a little staticky, EJ. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Maybe it's me. Has this happened twice now? Okay, this is a file we have in a GitHub repository. It also lives online. And I was exploring it, so it was on GitHub, so I referenced it there. This is a list of countries that are available to query through the Comtrade data. And we're going to use that here for this little drop down. So I'm just going to pull this from here as well. Let's put that right on top. So this little drop down references this country list. So whatever we have, wherever we're pulling in here, you can reference there. So now this is a way to reference the country. And there's going to be another little cool thing that I've already scripted up. It's going to give us the country code, the Comtrade country code.
Nice.
From the country name. You back, EJ?
Yeah, is this any better or still same thing?
No, it's good.
Okay,
Good.
awesome.
Yeah, so I don't think you were watching, but basically we have this fetches the country list, and this little handler is going to convert whatever is selected here into a country code. So when we make the API call, we have to reference countries by code, not name. So this is just like a converter that basically says, if this is clicked, go to country code and return that. So if we want the country code of what's selected, that will be returned here. And you can see country code of Colombia is 170.
That's awesome.
You go to Pakistan, 586.
Can you paste me the notebook that you're working on the left? Because there's another way that we can import these that.
Oh yeah, totally. I imagined I was gonna like destroy this notebook at some point, trying to experiment with it, so I wasn't too confident.
Got it. Yeah. Might as well keep it keep it safe in this new one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's the link to mine.
Sweet. And then we have to make our API calls. So this is like. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then country list is the list of all possible countries.
Exactly.
So
And
let's
that's
put this in like an
being pulled
appendix.
from the Comtrade database. Around that way.
This is all stuff we're going to reference.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. And then country code, this is awesome. So you can go in and select a country, and now we need to build our API call.
Yeah, exactly. So before we do that, well, yeah, let's build the API call first, and then we can kind of talk through some of the placeholder objects we're going to have in the API call.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can even just write them out as Markdown as part of the documentation. So like there's three variables that we update to, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's three variables that that's an important part, that we update. There are many variables that you can. So if we don't, if we have static values for something that somebody else cares about, like there's lots of things that can be updated here. And you can learn about that on the Comtrade website. But yeah, this is basically where you can build a URL call. So this is sneak peek at how I did this. So like if you check this out here, you can actually kind of use this GUI to make a API call. It's also cool. One note thing here, if you're ever in this database, world and all are different. So world comes back with aggregated values, all comes back with all countries. All
Interesting. So world is like a total.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of adds up all, and then yeah. Okay, so I'm going to make like a sample API call here just to kind of show how the URL is structured. This is where I started.
Awesome.
If you go down the bottom, this thing that couldn't be in smaller font is the view API call, and it gives you this little string, and that's very helpful. So here's our API call string here. And then there's the base part of the string too. That's important. So they don't actually add that for you. I think it's just like your basic uncomtrade.org, whatever. I have it in this notebook here. Okay. And then, yeah. Okay, so we'll put that there. So you just join these two to get your like API URL. And so a URL that we might use here is.
Oops.
Deleting my work. This is why I didn't want to be on a team with you.
So sorry. I'm just getting back used to it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what EJ? Let's do this. So with this API string, you should just join this as like one string. I think it makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah, you can just join those together. But let's add what do you call those when you like have the placeholder or like a variables reference in the string?
Who knows what it's called? I know how to do it.
All right, well, let's just do that. Okay, so you're gonna go, and there's a couple areas we care about here. So let's just cross-reference where I did this over here.
Yeah, I'm just combining them up top here. So this is like our full, and then we want to change our call string to have a few more variables, right? So let me write it in Markdown first. So we have 3 variables that we update. The first one is what?
The first one's gonna be your year.
Year, yeah.
And years can have single values or multiple. So just know that.
Great.
And then, I'm on the Twitter. I should do Twitter.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so years can have multiple or single values. So just know that. And for certain calls, we'll do certain ways. So, and then the next value that we're going to care about after that is going to be our country code, and that's in ComTrade denoted by R. And there's documentation on this in the ComTrade API. But you can see like in the URL, like you have these little codes and it's like equals and the and separate the different values.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that we're going to care about is the commodities. So there's tons of commodities in ComTrade. Like they're like wildly specific. So we only care about food. So wouldn't it be nice if somebody had gone through and relevant commodities for food?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Somebody would be really smart if they had done that.
Yeah, that would be great. So that's what we have here. You just gotta trust me on this one. These are strings that match food code.
Oh yeah, I'm fixing that. I'm fixing that so quick. That insane string is not sticking around. I hate that string.
What do you mean?
I cannot. What are you gonna do with it?
How are you?
Food code string. What was it on percent 2C? Is that what it is?
Yeah, percent 2C. Also, you're staticky again, but we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, that we might. There's a small chance in 9 minutes that we could restart because there's a couple things I can do that require restarting that might make for a better stream. But I want to get to a good starting and stopping point before we do all that.
Okay. I'm done. Yeah.
So these are our food codes without their insane string.
Yeah, exactly. And you can look these up in the ComTrade documentation. So just know there's also 4-digit food codes in ComTrade. For instance, if you look at cereals at 10, there's like all these different subcategories of cereals. So if you just care about rye imports, barley imports and exports, you can do that. Or like barley seeds. It's like a 6-digit food code. So commodity code. So anyway, we're gonna deal with 2-digit commodity codes for now, unless there are commodities we really care about the intricacies of. So anyway, we're gonna go with that for now. So these are like the 3 values that are gonna change in our our API calls. So let's talk about how we want to make those API calls and introduce error 409 that I'm getting that EJ is going to fix for me.
I know. Yes. Well, we'll see how that goes. Right now, I'm still parsing and unparsing your string. I'm really sorry.
Okay. Perfect. I worked hard on that.
It's a lot of fun. It's why else be a programmer?
Trying to find the percent and then unshift to hit the 2 and then the big C. That's
fun. The reason that it's appealing to me is because then we can eventually we could add a little drop down selector to select the food code. Like, you know what I mean? If we had a bigger list later, I'm pretty sure there's an input type like that. So I just wanted to make it ready. Right? There's like a search one. Yeah, if we had our, did you say somebody smart made a list of all our commodities in a file somewhere?
Yeah, that is, yes, it is. It's somewhere. 1 second. In our GitHub repo, it's also, you can get it from Comtrade, but it just was easier to like have it as a static file.
That sounds right. I think I downloaded that yesterday. It's in, you've already included it in one of your notebooks though, right?
No.
Okay.
Not observe. Maybe my last observable. Maybe I did actually. But yeah, it's here.
So this would be commodities.
Oh, do you? Yeah. You can drop it in yourself too.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. So let's JSON do. Right.
I deleted yourself.
Very good. So we have our list of commodities, and then we want to have like our commodity.
Wait, you can just call out d3.json?
Yeah, dog. Living in the future.
So when I'm doing this whole await, fetch, whatever here.
Yeah, I don't know what all that's about.
Oh, wow.
You're you're being fancy. I'm just a caveman working through observable. It makes my life so much easier. But now
I'm
can you?
in there, so probably doing it right.
So we have commodity chooser. So this gives you all the things you get back. So if you, I wish it was better. You can do animals, and then it filters it in real time. That's not really what we want. There's another input that's better, like a multi-select chooser. I forget where that is. Form. Select, choose from a dropdown. That sounds better. And this can be from commodities.
Yeah. Well, what I have it here?
This is the country. Oh, you had it in your notebook, you're saying?
In my last notebook, yeah. Let me see if I have 2-digit commodities. That'd be nice. I think I did. Oh, I did. Yeah, hell yeah. Here you go. Use this.
The problem is I want to multi-select because you want to, what we're doing is we're choosing a few different commodities to look for at once.
Oh, I see. So for reference, for this example, we don't need to give, I don't want to surface this
As an option.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have, but like at the same time, oh, that's cool. Like it's kind of like one of those things you'd be really thoughtful about, like what you surface as a user choice versus just like returning what they expect. And I want to just like, I don't want them to choose what they care about necessarily yet.
See, right now the user's me. Like I'm not,
Sure.
you know what I mean? I want to be able to explore it. Like we can always make, we'll make a tree map no matter what, but I want to have this ability to explore it later. Maybe we hide it in the appendix or something like that, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And no, you're totally right. So let's figure out how to take the data it returns from the API now that we've built our, if I can spell commodities, now that we've built our API call, like we want to turn that into hierarchical data. And then I might restart the stream real quick so that you can get better audio on both ends.
Okay, your audio is not terrible anymore. For a second it was bad.
Okay, cool. I just want to, I have suspicions that it's not capturing your audio very well, and I want to make sure that we're doing that in the best way.
Yeah, well, whatever you think's best.
Cool. So now we have, I already did that D3 JSON where we call the URL that we made. Or did I drag
Okay.
that? Did I do that, or did I hallucinate that? Oh, commodities comes from the GitHub user content. So we haven't yet made a call to our URL, which is full API string. It's 2-digit all right, I got very distracted with our food codes. So where's call string made? Here it is. So we have to turn our 3 variables into cells now, and then we can add them to our string. So the first one is selected year, right? That's 2021. And then we would have our country code, which comes from this thing, country select.
Yeah, country select.
So we'll do selected country is.
Actually, you should do we need the country code, not the country name.
But what if it's all? It doesn't matter.
If it's all, it breaks things. There needs to be a handler for all. We'll get to later.
So we need a function that's like country name to code.
But I wrote that down here, country code. You go to the bottom.
Oh, I see. Country code. I see. Okay, this returns the code for the currently selected thing.
Exactly. It just kind of like maps to the country code.
So really selected country should be country code.
Yes. Exactly.
But just the first thing in it? Or
it just returns the code. So it's an array of 1.
Always. So I'm just gonna grab the first element from it. So selected country, and that changes when. I'm curious what happens when you when you do this here. Let's see. So select country. So if we do Albania, it's 8. So our selected year is 2021. Our selected country is 8, and our third is our commodities. So selected commodity. I've spelled commodities so wrong every time. Selected commodities comes from your amazing string, food code string.
I think we should just go just for reference. That's
just save me, kind of save me from myself. All right.
Yeah, halfway through the project, I just started defaulting to com.
You're just all right.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so now our call string we replace some of these things. So we replace, the year is the easiest. I can see where the year goes.
Yeah.
Selected year. These are not the right type of quotes. There we go.
There's also, yeah. Well, keep going, and I'll.
So we have selected country that goes into where?
Let's. I think we should separate these like import, export, and year-over-year strings though. And I'll explain why in a second.
Import call string, and then export call string.
Yeah, but let's here.
Like that.
Yeah. But we need to do. Yeah, we need to keep adding some changes here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We got to get current. Excuse me. Got to get selected country and commodity in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, or selected.
Yeah, use those.
All right, up there. Where food code string. Good, strong. There we go. So, okay, last thing I'm going to point out here. So we should copy this. There's one little sneaky thing here that I didn't explain on the URL, and that is RG. So RG1 equals import, RG2 equals export.
Right.
So that needs to change.
So this would be. So I'm just making another drop down for the trade type, which I made import type. So we have trade type, and then it's R. We basically need. We can do a little ternary. You're saying it's R or P. Where exactly do we do that?
It's 1 or 2 referenced by RG.
1 or 2. Got it. So we could.
RG equals 1 up there.
So we could make. We don't have to have 2 strings if we can calculate that properly, right?
Sure.
It would be like UI export. Because it's like just another parameter that we need.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But like, we're gonna have to make like these calls. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. But we will have to make these calls in like 4 types of ways. But the way to do it probably is better at the end of the day, and adds for more like user interaction for sure.
With 1 or 2. So, and then if you wanted to make these, this is like combined all string. RG is trade code for trade type. Oops. Change is not defined. What is that?
That's our well, I was setting this up in a different way. So I was gonna have this be our year over year call, but if we're gonna do 1 combined, then this should be chosen year or selected year.
Got it. So we need a year. Oh, we already have, selected year, and then we could make a drop down for it later if we wanted, right?
Yeah.
We're pretending that we have one. Country. Import. So we don't need import or export call string. We have combined.
Okay.
Sweet. And then it's not really combined because we need the base URL. Right?
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
I thought I did do it. API base URL. Cool. So
Here we go.
this is the moment of truth. Drum roll would be D3. It's JSON, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, we got an empty data set. Probably because I have 2 slashes. Try now. Still empty. Invalid argument format. Oh, trade code for trade type. RG. Forgot our little $sign.
Yeah.
Both all reporters and all partners may not be selected. Select a different reporter or partner. Oh, so we need to have selected country not be all?
So selected country cannot be all. That's the thing. So we need a handler, or if it is all. Yeah. Basically, we should probably define this as everything in that list that's not.
So let's just filter it out.
Yeah.
What does it see that text? What are you talking about? I mean, that's valid. That's great points.
Maybe just one. Is it just one equal?
No, I got it. So now we have everything but all in the list. So you can't select the thing that's invalid.
Perfect. Is world in there? No. Good. Okay, we're good.
Sweet. So now if we refresh our data, maybe? No.
I'm going to change our max return to 10,000, just so you know.
Amazing. Great start.
Yeah.
All right, so we're still not getting data back. But we're not getting errors in our validation status either, so.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we got here then.
Yeah, like if we go to the URL not through observable, does it work?
All right.
No, it's the same deal.
So let's see. This is looking good. Looking good. Okay. Oh boy. We got API get frequency. That's all right. Okay. Our oh, I know. Change the selection to Pakistan.
Okay. Oh, it's because Antigua. Okay, that makes sense.
Afghanistan doesn't have data for 2021.
Yeah.
I've never hit this error before. I just,
Okay, so now we have data. Amazing. I'm like truly incredible. It seems so simple, but so we need to basically turn this into D3 hierarchy data, which I'm just gonna.
And I'm gonna do a little to do in here. This is where I was like in my last app hit some problems with like the handling of errors. So add. Basically, just to be like, ignore it or whatever. Just like return a message that says like this country doesn't have data.
Yeah, just empty. Yeah.
Yeah. For now, let's just pretend that it's always going to return data, and then we'll do the handling later. But just like that is something we should do.
Agreed. You do. No. Oh well.
Does it do it? It should do it.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It won't do it. D3 hierarchy collection for more. All right. So I'm just looking at. Oh, basically, I think it's D3 group that we're doing essentially.
Here's another interesting thing. So let's take this. So go. Can I just click on that? Nope. Okay. When we're looking at this, it's a JSON object with a couple different arrays involved. As this, there we go, makes very clear. One of those we got like these high-level objects here. So we have like validation, message, dataset timer, and then dataset, which is a big old array of values. So when we are using this data, we are really only working with the dataset array.
That makes sense.
So do we want to just like upfront filter it? Perfect. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing here that we should do off the bat, or we should do like, well, I don't know, do it now or later, but we need to get world data out of there. So there's going to be like, for each commodity, there's going to be like total in the world values. That's like all of the other values summed, basically. And whatever charts we're making, we don't want to reference that.
Do you know its country code, the country code for the world?
I don't think the world has a country code.
Okay, fascinating.
But you'll see here, it's like always going to be like the first value.
All right, let's do this a different way.
0, maybe?
PT, let's do it. I had it by code. Let's do it by title just so we can understand what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm grouping all of the data that we receive by the PT title, right? So every commodity is now grouped into the country.
So that makes sense. So I would say we should create a filter that gets rid of world. Here.
So let's do that. Let's do that here, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do d.pt title should not be world. And then we gotta close this. There we go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we have it grouped by country now. Do we also, there's like one other level of grouping, right? Do we group by commodity code within the country? Or there's only one of each commodity?
Oh, hold on. So you're creating interesting. So you're creating groups. Well, let's check out what we need on our tree map.
I'm one step ahead of you, buddy. So it needs a hierarchy data that is based on our group data. So this is our new hierarchy data, right? So it has a depth of 0 because there's not really any parents, but we have a null with the children of every country. And it has children of every commodity.
Okay. How did you figure that out?
I don't, intuition.
Okay. But like we should be able to reference that in like the D3 object, right? Like in like the tree map, it should.
Well, so yeah, all of the tree map examples want hierarchy data exactly how it gets spit out from here. So now that we have hierarchy data, we can pull in these little examples. So like, let me see if I can grab this first one that he visualizes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna here. I'm gonna
explain to me again how you want to group this data.
So let me just import this graph real quick.
Draw it out for us.
So I want to import my graph, and then I just want to make sure this works. So we want to graph hierarchy data. Okay, wow, so big.
Magic.
So that's the whole world, and then every dot that it goes to is a country, and then every dot from that is a commodity.
Okay, so we're gonna go root country. Okay, that makes sense to me.
So, but this is in the wrong direction. Remember when we talked through this before offline? Like I made it world. Like we want to group every commodity first and then country within it.
Yeah, I think so. So we're gonna go. It should be root, commodity, country.
So let me do another group data. We don't like this group data. We want a different one that instead of doing it by PT title, does it by commodity code, which is command code, CMD code.
CMD.
Okay, no, this is good. So now we have our commodity 20 is filled with all of the trades for that commodity. And then within that commodity, we want to group by country.
Yeah.
And that's
now,
PT title.
I don't think this is going to matter. We can probably just figure this out later. But do we want to do commodity description? So it's like the actual words we can reference later?
Well, we'll decode it later. This is just for my grouping right now.
Okay. It's going to be the same thing. It's just a matter of like, it might make our lives easier down the road.
All right, so scroll up a little bit and you can sort of see what I've done. If you open up grouped data.
Okay.
Like expand the map, right? So it's like 20, map 44.
Oops. How do I expand it?
Click on the little arrow next to, oh, I guess we lost our data. It should not be empty. Import call string.
I'm back on Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
Remember to change the default?
Yes, let's do that right now. Select a country. All right, so now if you hit the little arrow next to like map 17 on group data and sort of like expand out how it did that grouping,
Mm-hmm.
you can sort of see it's filled with countries.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm not.
No, you're good. So in that group data cell, so right above the code where it's written, it has the map. You can actually look at that data.
Oh, that triangle. Got it. Okay.
Right. So this is what I'm building. So this is every commodity filled with every country, which is closer to what we actually want to make, right? And with the parent, like commodities are parents of countries that have sizes.
Yeah, exactly.
So this like format, this grouping of the data will be what fills our tree map.
Perfect. Okay. This looks good to me.
So let's try and steal.
Yeah, there are 17 country codes. That adds up. Okay. Beautiful.
So I'm just going to import the zoomable tree map from the notebook that we like and feed this data into it and see what happens.
This is super helpful. My fundamental misunderstanding on the D3 workflow here was I didn't realize that like D3 had hierarchy type data type.
Yes. Yes, and it does all of that work for you.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's actually called chart. So we want to import chart. And then we're going to feed chart our hierarchy data. Chart is not a fun. Okay, so I can't actually do that. But what I can do is just steal the code. So instead of this,
Don't tell anyone.
oh no, it's all part of the process. Format is not defined. We don't need to format anything. Just do d.value. Height will be width. I guess I can make a height. Okay, and I need tree map from this. So I'm just like, a little copy here, a little import there. Where else is calling format? I don't want format.
Wow, way too big.
Undefined.
We're living with it.
That's so weird. root.children.concat. Oh, because it's only one level deep. Maybe. Group data, we have world. Yeah, that's right. And then we do by command. That all seems good to me. We have one row per commodity, and in that commodity, oh, nice, ooh, fancy. Yeah. So we have data and children as commodity, and those children are countries. So let's get rid of this. This is a terrible idea. I also have graph, which if I could get it to label right, would be nice. So we can do graph hierarchy data. So this is, oh, let's just get a tree map. I forgot what we were doing. So let's get the default tree map, which is what you had done in your other notebook. And this is, but we have a little bit more power over it now that we're doing our own groupings.
Yeah, but remember well, hopefully the function, like the user interface part of it will still be there, but.
Totally, I just want to see it work real, like.
Sure.
And there might be a way to do, maybe not. I don't know if plot has interaction like that. Oh no, hierarchy data. Okay, so at least that's like a tree map. They're not colored by anything, but.
Sure. I mean, is this referencing our data yet?
Yes.
Oh, hierarchy data. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Let me pull up this. I wonder if I can do a quick little. But this is kind of where I've gotten to on this.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just copy in your tree map now. We can, we can control it a little bit more with our hierarchy data array.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pull in. Okay. Just pull in everything. We'll decide what we want.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. And I already have tree map included, so you can just replace that. Sweet.
We got all that. In a second, take out that parentheses. Okay. Ooh, okay. So the path, I don't know if we need that anymore if we have like hierarchy.
No, I would take. I don't know. I like that. I'm not familiar with that.
That's basically telling you what like the grouping.
No, I know. I just don't think I've never used that when I do tree maps. So it seems like some fancy pants stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So labels are going to be 4 items in this. Well, in our hierarchy data, how can you reference the field that is?
It's .data1. It's like, it's a little funky.
It's like per data piece, we want to reference the CMD description.
Yeah, it should be like this. Like we should not be seeing this one big square right now. Like we should be seeing at least it broken up into commodities, even if it's not labeled right. Like something's gone wrong at some point. The parent is not the data. Yeah, because it's undefined. Give me 1 second. Maybe I made my hierarchy wrong. Okay, yeah. So I need to do it slightly differently. .children 0 .data. Multiple roots. Okay, maybe not.
Well, I don't know. If you go back to those multiple roots, we try this.
Yeah, for sure.
Go back to that. Let me define the path.
Yeah, okay.
Nope. We're back to this though.
Yeah, it should. We like the other weird thing is my other D3 hierarchy. Okay, this might not be the same tree map that you reference in yours also. So it might work differently. So we have path, we have label. I'm just gonna comment these things out piece by piece real quick, and we can figure out what's going on. Right, so that should give us nothing. If we do the path, it fixes it. Okay, that's weird. Why is it 2 blocks?
That is weird.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that away and then do our full hierarchy. Okay, this makes a lot more sense. So this is what I expected to see, is a bunch of small things. The problem is that their group is wrong. So group is gonna be the type of commodity. That's what command is. This is the long commodity description name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that there. And then the label, okay, they're all undefined, which is not great.
Yeah.
So what does it look like in there? Oh, that makes sense.
Just also know if you pair, we're talking about description here, and you broke out by country code or commodity code.
Okay, fascinating. So labels don't. I agree with you. Like, what is D in here is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Oh, because we're not in. No, that should work. All right, so what does D look like if we do console?
Here we go. I'm looking at it here.
Okay, so we have a dot data. Oh, it's just dot data. Has all the things we care about, I think. So D dot data dot command. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, it's coming together.
Sweet. So now we need to fix our value, which is D dot data dot trade value. Great.
Hey, what does that question mark do in there?
So that just means if it doesn't exist, it doesn't error out. It just sends a null value. So it coerces it into at least drawing something for you.
Nice. I just added the group back.
Amazing. So
cool. Going from black and white to color.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels. I feel like we're making a lot of progress very quickly.
Yeah. All right. We are cranking on this. Okay. So this is super good. I mean, so just to kind of summarize where we are now, we might be in trouble. Oh, hold on. Okay. So what we have here are groups of commodities, grouped by values of commodities imported to Pakistan, grouped by the type of commodity they are. What we need to do, though, is change these labels to countries.
That's right, because it's not. That makes sense. So the label is not. It's PG title. No, what's the
PT title?
PT title. I was so close. Okay, awesome. And we kind of want the two together, right? So it's almost like you want like a string that has the country.
Here's the tricky part. So what I really like is to have this circled, and I'll kind of show that on the side here. Like this should ideally be in one box. So if you're like looking at my screen right now, you have this category, and then all the countries within that category. Which I guess kind of is what we have here.
Yeah, we sort of have that. It's just not illustrated the same way. So that's why I want to get this chart going. Because we're now making data in the way the zoomable tree map expects, which is interesting.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah, that was what that was.
Which is like our original goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I want to copy it in. Okay, let's try it in a different way. So I'm going to fork this, and then pull in our hierarchy data from this notebook, which I will publish. How do I do that? Publish.
I'm gonna go back up to our below our initial to-dos and just explain what you've done. So we can
Amazing.
So we started by created API call. The value API calls return into. You change them into D3 hierarchy data.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get it. I feel like we're so close to having it work on the zoomable one, but the data's just like.
Yeah.
So we don't even need full API string, do we? Yeah, because it's all working without it. Oh yeah, this is awesome.
Did you get it working?
No, but I was just looking at the to-do list and the images you dropped in.
Oh, nice. Yeah, now trying to convert to. Also, do you want a screen share? It might be a better user experience for our massive audience.
Yes, I think that I really do want to restart the stream because I think it'll fix both the audio that you hear and then your audio on the stream. So let's do that in a minute. I just want to get to, I think this is a pretty good stopping place.
Okay.
And then what we can do.
You just stop the screen share and you can take it.
Yeah, no, I need to take a break. I need to think through this for a second. So I'm gonna stop the live stream for a minute. Let's take like a 5-minute break, and then are you down to come back and do another like half hour, 45 minutes, or do you gotta run?
No, I'm in. I'm in it to win it.
All right, awesome. So let's take awesome. Thank you. Let's take like a 10-minute break. I'll see you back here in like 10 minutes, and we can keep going and like get our zoomable tree map work. Like we basically mise en placed everything to do this in pretty quickly, I feel like.
Here we go.
All right.
Stay tuned, audience.
Yeah.
After the intermission.